guys, this is Krishna Adya and welcome to my channel. In last session we studied about events in JavaScript. Now what we will do in this session? In this session we will start the JavaScript form validations. Now what do you mean by validations? Validations are used to validate the data, means to correct the data. And there are two types of validations. The process is done two types, that is server side and client side. So which is better, server side or client side? I prefer that client side is better because client side in client side validations are performed at client side, and in server side the validations are performed at server side. Now what is the difference between that? While we are doing the validations at server side, over there first the user will enter the data in the form that we have submitted to them or we have presented to them. Then they will fill the data and then submit the form to the server. Then the server will check all the data, then the page is recreated, and if the data is wrong, then it is presented to the user again. Then again the user will correct the data and then again send to the server. This is too long process, and server also gets traffic over here, and server is also loaded. And the process is slow compared to the client side. And now what is done in the client side validations? In client side validation, when the user enter any data in the form, at that time the validations is performed at client side only, and after all the data is perfect, then only the page will be submitted to the server. So by this way the work will also done fast and the server will also get less load. So now, why to use validations? Why the validations are used in the forms and in many websites? The validation are used to send the correct data. Means like if you want that the password field must be required, means it should be filled, it cannot be empty. So at that time you can place the required field validator. And suppose you like to send email, so the mail address which generally nowadays taken in the form. So to validate the pattern of the mail, at that time also the validations are used. So now let's see the basic types of validations that JavaScript supports. JavaScript supports basic 4 types of validations, that are required field validator, regular expression validator, compare validator, and range validator. Now let's see what do you mean by this all validations. So first of all, it's required field validator. It is used for validating the required field. As I told you in the last slide, that to validate a required field means you want in the form or in any website that you need this data, it cannot be empty. At that time the required field validator is used. The next is regular expression validator. What do you mean by regular expression validator is, it is used to validate a field that needs data in specified expression. Means if you want to validate a pattern, say example of mail address, you want to validate a mail address, or you want to validate a password, that the password must be alphanumeric and it must contain number, small alphabet and capital alphabet, and then the password should be between 2 to 5 characters or 2 to 10 characters. Then at that time you can use the regular expression validator. Next is comparison validator. Comparison validator is used to compare 2 or more fields. Means like you have seen many times in the form or while registering yourself into many websites, that there are 2 fields, one for password and another is for confirm password. If you don't match both the password, then it will show an error that the both password should match. So at that time the comparison validator is used. And then the next is range validator. The range validator is used to validate a range in input from user. Means when user input something, at that time if you want to want a data in specified range, like there are many job websites and many job websites takes the age of yourself, like with the age between 18 to 50 only, or between 80 to 18 to 70 only. At that time the range validator is used. So now let's see how to use this all types of validator in actual code. So over here in our code for the validations, I will perform all the validations in a single file. So first of all, let's save the file. I am saving the file as js underscore validations dot html. Now let's give the title as JavaScript validations. Now I will use the table tag over here. I am using this table tag for perfect designing, and over here the form tag is not used because in this code there is no need for me to transfer the control to the another page or to take the value of a text box into a PHP variable using post or get method. I will be taking the value into the JavaScript variable, so there is no need of the method in that, so I am not using the form tag over here. Now let's give the label as name, and let's give the input type that is used to take the text box over here, and then let's give the id as uname. Now let's take a button over here. When the button will be clicked, the JavaScript function will be called, and when the function will be called, the validations will be performed. The submit will be appear as a text on the button at the time of the output, and when the button will be clicked, the function will be called. So let's give the name of the function as VALD, and you can give the name of the function as per your wish. Now we need to create the JavaScript function, and we know that to write any JavaScript code we need the script tags. And to create the function keyword is used, and then the name of the function. So first I need to take the value of the text box into a JavaScript variable to validate it. So for that let's declare a variable of JavaScript as uname, and then document.getElement by id is used to get the control using the id. Then the id will be given over here, that is uname. The uname id is the id of the text box, and then the value keyword will be used, that is used to denote that we need the value of the control whose id is given between this single inverted commas. And now we will do the required field validation over here. For that let's take the uname, that is the name of the variable of the JavaScript, is equal to blank space, or we can say that uname dot length equal to 0. Then what we will do, we will show an alert message that name cannot be empty. So this is known as required field validation. Now let's see that this works or not. Let's open the index of our folder, and our file was js underscore validations.html. So now let's try by giving nothing to the text box, that the text box will remain empty. Name cannot be empty. Now let's give a single space, then the name cannot be empty. And now let's give the name over here, let's we say as ABC, and it has no alert message. So this data works perfectly, and this validation also works perfectly. While I enter the ABC, that is the data over there, no alert is shown because we have not given any type of task to perform. When the data is given in a validate form, means the data will be correct. Now we will perform our next validation. Our next validation will be let's say regular expression. So for regular expression we will use the password over here. So let's give the label as password. And over here we would need the text box. So input type text is used. And then we need to give the ID. Let's give the ID as upass. Now we will perform the required field and regular expression both on the password. So for that we know that we need to take the value of that particular control into a JavaScript variable. So our JavaScript variable for the password will be upass. Now let's take its value, and the ID of that control is upass. Now first we will perform the required field. So our condition will be same that we have given for the username. So upass equal to empty space or blank space, and uname dot length equal to 0. Then we will need to pass the alert over here that password cannot be empty. Now let's see that the required field validation for both the control works or not. So let's reload our file. Name cannot be empty and password cannot be empty. So this works. Now we will do the regular expression. In regular expression we need to give a pattern for matching. And to give the pattern, first we need to assign the pattern to a variable. So let's declare a variable, let's say as password, and let's give its pattern. So the pattern will start with a slash and end with a slash, because it's an regex rule that it shows that the regex has started and it has ended. And then caret is used over here. The caret is used in the regex, that is regular expression that we generally used in our database also, and in that the caret is used to denote that the expression has started from here. And we need to give the pattern in our square brackets. I need the pattern as the password must be in capital letters, small letters, and 0 to 9 means number. Then /w is used. What do you mean by /w? It will count the number of characters that we have given in the text box, and then in curly braces we will give the length. The length of the password must be between 2 to 10, and let's give the $sign. Now what the $sign is used to denote? The $sign is denoted as the regular expression has been ended. So caret is used to start it and dollar is used to end it. So by this way you can give the pattern to denote and to use the regular expression. I have given the regular expression and pattern for the password. You can do the same for the name or email address or anything else which you like. Now we will do the validation over here, like if the variable that is upass, its value will match to password. Now what is match? Match means it's a built-in function in the JavaScript that is used to match the pattern that we have given, and as we are validating it, so we will give as not. So what will be the condition is, if the text that is contained by the upass is not matching with the pattern that we have given, then we will show an alert message that password must be of 2 to 10 length and must contain capital and small alphabets and number. So by this way you can do the regular expression. Now let's try that this works or not. So first let's perform the required field to see that by giving the regular expression the required head doesn't get affected. So it is working properly. Now what we need is, for first let's try with giving only one letter. Password cannot be empty and alphabets must be of 2 to 10 in length. Okay, so we have given some, I have given the uname over here, so it's giving the wrong validation. Now let's try it again. Name cannot be empty and password cannot be empty. Then let's try by giving the one alphabet over here. Name cannot be empty and password must be of 2 to 10 length and must contain the capital and small alphabets and number. Then let's give as B, that is small b. Again the alert has come. Why? Because the length is perfect, that is 2 to length we have given 2, but our pattern that is not matched, because we have given also the pattern that a number should contain over here. So let's try by giving a number and then submit. Name cannot be empty and there is no alert for the password. So the regular expression also works perfectly. Now let's do the compare validation. In compare validation, we will first perform, create a text box over here for the confirm password, and then we will match the confirm password and the password that is entered by the user. Now let's give the label over here, that is confirm password. Then we will take the text box over here. Then we will take the value of the confirm password into a JavaScript variable. So for that, let's take the JavaScript variable as cpass, and let's take the value of the control, and over here we will directly perform the compare validation, and we will do the compare validation. So for that we need to compare the upass and cpass, that is the user password and compare password. So let's say as upass is not equal to cpass, then we will show an alert message over here. Both password should match. Now let's see that this works or not. Let's reload our page, and let's type the name as admin. Let's give the password as capital A, B and 2, and let's submit it. Both passwords should match. Now let's try by giving only the first letter of the password. Both passwords should match, and the next letter, both passwords should match, and let's give some extra letter to it. Both passwords should match. Now let's give the same password to it. It has not shown any type of alert box, so this works perfectly. Now let's switch to our last validation, that is range validation. For range we will use the age over here. So first of all we will give the label over here as age, and then we will take the text box, so now we will validate our age the age must be between 20 to 50 only, otherwise it will be an invalid age. So first let's take the value of the age into the JavaScript variable, that is UH. If U age is less than 20 or U age is greater than 50, then you have to show an alert message that age must be between 20 to 50. Now let's see that this works or not. Okay, let's give the name as admin, password as AB2, and the confirm password, and then let's give the age as 25. So no validation is seen, means the 25 age is perfect. Now let's give the age as 85. Age must be between 20 to 50. So this validation works properly. Now over here, our all four validation, that is required field validation, regular expression validation, compare validation, and range validation in the JavaScript is completed. So thank you for watching my video. If you like it, then please subscribe my channel.